What's up, good people? It's your boy Jay Free coming back at you again. As always, just trying to share information with my people, hoping that those that uh, may not see may at least be sparked with a desire to want to at least dig deeper and look and can begin the process of sight and vision. And for those of us that have vision and sight, to begin to look at things as well from a different perspective and see where we can unite, come together, um, and how we can take all of the resources that are available to us and make them so that they are benefit to all of us as a community, because that's really what we are as a people, a people that are melanated. We are a community, whether we like it or not, because we've been singled out, and we must wake up. We got to see the things that are going on right before our very eyes. I mean, I've always said it, and I'll continue to say it, that the evidence is before us right now. We're in the age of information. Racism, white supremacy is very real. It can no longer be overlooked or just put aside as just propaganda. It is very real. But the society that we live in has made it to where many, turn a blind eye to racism, white supremacy. Um, People make it as if it don't exist. It's to a point now where white people already are unable to relate to the issues in the black community and already feel like what black people complaining about. Slavery was 500 years ago or 200 years ago. It's not the same no more. Just they claiming to be slaves, but slavery is over. Slavery is a done deal. You see what I'm saying? And so in this process, we got this going on amongst the Caucasian people, and then even amongst ourselves because of meritorious malnutrition, that we spoke about before. My boy LA put me on, and with this word meritorious malnutrition, as I've experienced myself, those that are allowed inclusion by separating themselves from the rest of us. And through these efforts, you got people that come from, you know, the hood and rough environments and so on, and they success stories in somewhat of an instance. But in most cases, it's only because they had to conform to the society that we exist in. And by conform, it doesn't mean, when we say you conform, you have to understand, I'm not saying that you acting white or trying to be white. When we say conform, that means that you have subjected yourself to allow the ills that are plaguing the rest of the community, that you just turn the blind eye to them and don't allow or don't pay attention to what's going on, because it's not personally affecting you and your life. And because it's not personally affecting you and your life, you're not in touch with what goes on. Most times in most of our lives, everybody period, it's not real unless it's happening to you. The situation with Michael Brown or Trayvon Martin and all the other instances that we have as an example, those situations, if they would happen to one of us or to one of you, you know what I'm saying, your reaction, your response, and what your willingness to do would be different than as just a mere observator on the outside that's just paying attention and watching the news and hearing what's going on and saying, oh, poor baby, I feel so bad. Even if you do get a little bit enraged and upset, generally it still doesn't cause or push you into action, because it doesn't affect you. And that's because of the society, the system that we've become subject to. And so what have happened in this system is that through money as a motivator, our focus is only on trying to attain riches, wealth, and monetary gain, which really means nothing in the spectrum of life. We know that this physical body is going to cease, and so everything that we attain here that are monetary in the physical realm, we know that it means nothing to our spirit being, or what happens to us in the afterlife. And so to pursue these things are vain, and we know this whether we religious or not, but yet we still allow them to be our main motivators and factors in our decision making that we deal with every day. And this is how the system affects us, and this is how the system is able to accomplish what it accomplishes, because white people don't see racism because it doesn't affect them, and then black people that are subject to racism don't have a voice, and because some black people are set free through meritorious manumission. Look the word up. And because some black people are set free, it's made to look as if the rest of the black people that are left in their environment, that are left to the spoils of war, so to say, that are left in disaster and destruction, it's just, oh, look at them, they make an excuse. What they complaining for, when it's really not an equal playing field for all of us. And so you have to understand, in order to make it in a lot of instances, you have to sell out. It reminds me of a book that I read as a teenager, and the book was called Black Like Me, written by a reporter or a journalist, John Howard Griffin. And the book Black Like Me was phenomenal, because this was a white man who didn't understand the social ills of the black people in the community during the civil rights movement, during the 60s and 60s. And so this man couldn't understand. He wanted to bring white people in touch with the black experience. He wanted to experience it himself, but also in the book, as I read, he didn't really believe some of what the black people were saying was happening. In other words, like our society now, he was like, racism ain't that bad, because he felt as a white man, he knew white people, and white people didn't act like that. But that's because of how they acted toward him, and he didn't understand the difference. This man actually went and had a skin pigmentation, did a treatment to have his skin changed to melanated, or to look melanated, appear melanated. He wore makeup and everything, and actually lived as a black man. Didn't change his name or nothing, but lived as a black man. And this book reports his experiences in real life, a nonfiction book. It reports his experiences in journalist style of what he went through as a black man, and he couldn't wait to get back white after experiencing. So this is what we're talking about. Is very real, but it's two sides. White people can't see, and black people experience it, but have become subject to it. In other words, through religion and manipulation and mind control through the psychology, black people just accept what's going on in the hopes that in the eternal life, I'm going to heaven because I believe in Jesus and this bull, man. But because of this doctrine and the indoctrination that it have been put on our people and forced on us, and the lies that have been put over this religions that have been placed on us, people subject themselves to the rules or to the establishment. And this is why we suffer. We live in lack. We live in poverty. We live in despair. We suffer so many social and economic, misfortunes, exclusions, and the reason being is because of racism, white supremacy. Again, looking at what's going on in Ferguson, the Dred Scott case, in the Black's Law Dictionary, and I'm going to just read. The Black's Law says that blacks were not included nor intended to be included under the word citizens in the Constitution, whether they were emancipated or not, and that they remained without rights or privileges except such as those which the government might grant them. Did you hear? This is in the Black's Law Dictionary. This is what they've said. This is where we still exist at right now today. We are still slaves. Just because we ain't picking cotton don't mean that we not bound. We are still slaves. We subject to a system that's at work. That's why I say if we pay attention to all of the information that's available and the details, and can dig in between the lines and see what's going on, and we begin to understand, like I say, it's bigger than Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin. We talking about black men being killed weekly, daily, around the country regularly. We just don't hear about all of the cases. I said before, it's reported nationally, statistics through the FBI, as the local police agencies have to report to the government. And the release report stated between the years of 2006 and 2012, 6-year span, that a white officer killed 2 black men a week. So this is come on, man, it's 52 weeks a year. If we just go by the 2 that they telling us, that's 104, correct? In itself. Over 6 years, that's over 600 black men murdered by white police officers in itself. Come on, man, this is way bigger than Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin. We have to pay attention and see the system that's at play. And we're in the hour and time now where it's more prevalent and it's more necessary, because now is the time where, as we understand what's going on and we can clearly see what's going on, we're aware now that the reason we suffering and going through the things that we going through is not because we just in the hood complaining, not because we just pretending and making up, talking about the system, because it's none of that. We're not free. We've never been free. This is the strategy. This is why Obama is in the White House. They never respected that man since the day he been in there. He's never had support from Washington. He couldn't help if he wanted to help. But then he's for the system through, again, meritorious manumission. The man, he has the job to do, but it's so many details in that. But we're not free. Again, the picture is made to be painted so that we remain passive and subject to the things that they want to do. And we have to become aware. We have to wake up and we have to understand and pay attention to what's going on. I don't care what your religious ideologies are. I don't care what your level of understanding, whether you Christian, whether you are conscious, whatever your case may be, pay attention to what's going on and question the things that are around you. Stop taking, we have been bitten by an oppressor, and we take everything that oppressor gives us. We accept the same man that shackled us. We accept the religion and all of the teachings and everything else that they've given us, as if the people that beaten us, raped us, killed us, lynched us, stripped us of ourself, our culture, treated us like dogs. I mean, come on, people. Why is we acting like these people would have our best interests at heart? Like they gonna give us a real book, a religion that's gonna really help us and benefit us and help us to conquer and overcome. How? Come on, man. Christianity's not real. And I say it again because I'm a former preacher. I'm a licensed and ordained minister, technically. So I understand the ins and outs of these religions, and I understand Christianity to a T. Like I say, we're gonna get to that eventually about exposing Christianity. I have a deep teaching on it. It's just going to take some time because it's thorough. But now we have to begin to awaken our people's minds and see what's going on. Like I say, if racism, white supremacy is real, like I point out so many things in my other videos, pay attention to the details and you can see. But as we see, we can't continue to live life on a regular daily basis. We can't continue doing everything as normal. You know what I'm saying? Just continuing to get our money and worried about money. We have to begin to come together. We got to begin to figure out what is my part in this fight. Because if we are going to ever see change, it's up to us to invoke change. We must initiate change. We must force change. Because if we don't fight and invoke change, then we subject ourselves to the same pattern and the same system that we've been subject to. The difference, however, is now is the prime time through information that we can make the shift. Because if we don't make the shift, then we'll subject ourselves and we'll find ourselves colonized, and we'll find ourselves living in concentration camps where they have complete control over us and we have no freedoms whatsoever. At least now we can even operate on this level and begin to try to unite and try to do something. We have to take advantage of the time now. We can't continue to sit still. We can't continue to sleep. Even like the Bible say, the day is far spent. The night is now come. You see what I'm saying? The night is come. We here. We in the time now. The time is now. This was what Willie Lynch, the syndrome and all of these things was about. It was a psychological warfare. We in the time now, where they manifesting the end time plan that they have. Pay attention to the sign, pay attention to the details and see exactly what's going on. As I've said before, we have to understand for those that are blind. Look at technology in the state that it's in right now. In the state that technology is in right now. Say, for instance, a cataclysmic event took place and the world was just destroyed. And those that remain were left. But those that remain, there was a small group that knew this technology, meaning they knew how to manufacture it and how it functioned and how it operated, electricity and so on and so forth. And the rest of the survivors did not. So they were left, they would be subject then to live by normal means, meaning live off the land, because the landscape now changed through the cataclysmic event. So now you have two groups of people. You have a group of people who in this generation were in touch with what was previous. But now as their children are born, they can only tell them stories about what was previous. And then you have a small select group that has the knowledge and information from previous, and they are passing it, and they're building secretly, and they're passing down to their generation. So now as a couple generations pass, now the stories that have been passed down, now not only do the stories become watered down, but now the reality that they exist in is so distant from the stories that they are told that it's not even a reality. So they accept this, they hear the stories, but they accept it. Now you have the other group, on the other hand, that through their generations, they've passed down this knowledge of the before time that we live now. They've passed it down in secret and have passed it down through their generations. So they've created underground cities, and they have electricity and, a lot of the technologies that we enjoy. So now this people that are somewhat primitive now through generations of being in the world where the landscape have changed, now these people reveal themselves, and they come and make themselves known, for instance, to this other people. And now because of the technology and the things that they have, the other people, of course, will subject themselves almost as if they were God, because they want to partake in the treasures that they see that this people have. Now understand though, these are the same people. The difference was the information and knowledge that was passed down through the generations, and the level of truth and the watered down that was passed down. So now those that had truth, because those that had the watered down truth that didn't know, were not connected and didn't understand what the truth was, now they're going to believe whatever they tell them, because truth appears with evidence. And so now they can feed them whatever lie to keep them under them. So now they work for them, and they've been feeding them the lie the whole time. And this is the place that we're in now. We are those people who have been asleep in amnesia and sleepwalking, and now we're in an information age. But the people who have kept the knowledge and kept the truth, hiding it in secret behind us all these years, now is the time where we need to realize, wait a minute, man, you're not better than me. You ain't got nothing that I don't got. You done lied to me. You done kept secrets from me. You haven't told me the truth, and you done kept me in bondage and slavery this whole time, when you really should have been sharing the information, because it was mine. And we come to find out we gave them the knowledge in the beginning. But it's about what you know. And this is why you got a Kunta who, because he's in touch with freedom, will dare not surrender to freedom. You got to cut Kunta's foot off, because Kunta knows freedom. But then notice, even in the movie Roots, through the generations, how other slaves begin to become subject. I ain't running for massa. And it's because it's the embedding in the mind, the psychology. Because the further you can distance them from the truth, you create a new truth. So now slavery was their truth. That was what they knew through generations. Mom and daddy was slavery, grandmom and granddaddy. But that's because they were in touch with Kunta, the first one who was brought over. He knew freedom. He wasn't a slave. But because what's been passed down, they only known the truth that they've been given of slavery. But that's not really the truth. And so they accept what's going on, or what the condition that they're in, because they know no better. But now people wake up. We know better. We understand the time that we're in. We see racism, white supremacy as a structure, and we see that it is a system that has been put in place to destroy us and knock us off and knock us out, and for those that are in control of the knowledge to try to create a society where only they exist in dominance, and the rest of us, and even poor whites and others, are left to be the subjects and the burden bearers for them. Colonized, concentrated, controlled, like cattle with cattle prods. We must understand and wake up, people. See what's going on. Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You need not that another man teach you, but let that spirit that inches you in your gut, let that spirit lead and guide you into all truth, that you might know him who is the all in all. Know yourself. It's your boy Jay Free. I see. I'm not blind. One. Love y'all.